All right, HBCU game day. We're here with head coach Willie Simmons. Coach, a 28-0 victory over Lincoln, sitting a lot of your starters and letting the reserves get in. And Junior Miratovic played a pretty good game out there.
Yeah, I thought Junior did a good job considering, this is his first start since 2021 and hadn't had a lot of reps, but was able to come in and play a pretty solid football game. Take away a couple of drops and a couple of drives that were stalled for whatever reason. I thought he played a solid game. So it's good to have a backup quarterback that you can depend on. Jeremy's done a great job of being the guy all season, and thankfully he hadn't been injured. Other than last week, took a shot, and we decided to rest him. This week could have played, but we felt that the magnitude of next week and what's coming down the pipe with the SWAC championship game in a few weeks, we wanted to make sure that we give him the best chance to be fully healthy going into next week's game. So, definitely excited about Junior. Then even was able to get Ja'Cory Jordan in a little bit to get his feet wet.
Coach, you got to be excited about the way your team played. In a game where a team has been challenged, but the team played with a lot of fire all the way to the last seconds ticked off of the clock.
Well, again, the challenge this week was to be mature enough as a football team to take on a winless football team that's coming in, had already played 11 games, and so we talked all week about how we prepare and how, again, I just use that word, are we mature enough as a football team to do the things that we need to do to be successful? And I thought the guys really did a good job of that. Defensively, I thought we played a really solid game, obviously. Pitched a shutout, was able to take our starters out, there in the second half, get a lot of guys in some reps that hadn't played a whole lot. Offensively, we were able to roll some guys in as well. Didn't have the production because of some penalties and mishaps, but all in all, it was really good to get a lot of guys some work so that we can evaluate. A lot of these guys will depend on, maybe not right now, but in the future. And every little bit of experience is great. And so, again, we're excited to get out with a shutout win, 19 straight at home, and definitely excited to get some guys some good quality work in today.
Coach, next week is the Florida Blue Florida Classic. One thing you have to be mindful of going into the Florida Blue Florida Classic is the records really don't matter. You go back to 2010, Brian Jenkins Wildcats were undefeated. They were actually HBCU national champions that year and came in, and Joe Taylor was able to take them down. 2018, your first experience, had the opportunity to go to the Celebration Bowl, but and the Wildcats seemed to limp in, and we weren't quite able to get the job done. So kind of a similar scenario coming into the game. The Wildcats defeated Alabama A&M 31-14 today. They seem to have found something to start clicking. What is your concept going into the Florida Blue Florida Classic, knowing all that's going on with it?
Well, I think the unique thing, obviously, you're absolutely right. You can throw records out the window. It's the Florida Classic. So we know that it's two teams that, again, I don't like to use the word hate, but they're two teams that really have a disdain for one another on the football field. Off the field with sister schools, but on the field of competition, whether it's football, basketball, our volleyball team played them, last night, and we want to make sure we beat the Wildcats every chance we get. And so, this year's game is unique in the aspect that I think for the first time, there's really nothing riding on the game other than bragging rights. The first 2 years, in 18, we were playing for a chance to go to the Celebration Bowl. In 19, we were playing for a chance to be undefeated in conference play, and even though we couldn't claim the title to be the undisputed, champs because we beat everyone in our conference. In 21, we were playing for a playoff berth. 22, we were really playing for a playoff berth. We didn't get it, but we knew going into the game that we had no chance had we lost. This year, we've already solidified the SWAC East. We wrapped it up. We're going to play in the SWAC championship game. We're going to host it December 2nd, and so there's nothing that can happen in the game that would derail our season per se, other than losing to our rival. So, but we still know how big the game is, and there are a large contingency of rattlers out there that could care less with 10-0. You better win that classic, and we understand that. So we'll be ready to go. You don't have to really do much to motivate the guys this week. We want to continue to play with great momentum leading up into the SWAC championship game. So we'll use the 24-hour rule like we always do, celebrate tonight, but when we walk in the building tomorrow, it's 100% focused on the Wildcats.
All right, Rattlers finish their home schedule unblemished again this year. Home game winning streak at 19. And next week, they'll be in Orlando for the 2023 Florida Blue Florida Classic.